This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, in the last session, we were talking about foreign vendor payment. Now let us talk about down payments in F110. We know that down payment is nothing but advance payment. Now, how the down payment or advance payment is processed to vendor manually, we have already seen. Now, the same down payment, how it is processed with the help of automatic payment program, let us try to understand now. Now, we'll take simple example again. We'll see what vendors we've created. Let me go to vendor line item report, FBL1N, input our company code AC10 here, and open the drop down for the vendor list. Give your company code AC10, enter. Let me select this one, VA stores. Select this VA store and I'll select all items. Let me give current date because I just want to see the items that are processed with today's posting date. Let me click on execute. Currently, if you look at it, there is nothing outstanding or there is no transaction which you can see on the vendor account as there are no entries posted with today's posting date. What we will do, this is your VA store. Now let's write Acer wants to purchase some. I'm using stationery only because as I mentioned, for any vendor execution scenario, whatever we are working on APP now, we are only concerned about credit in vendor account, debit whatever the account that you take, it does not make any difference. Since I don't want to create additional GL account to deviate you all, I'm just using the same GL account stationery. But when you're practicing, you can create any expense account, you can use any debit. It's up to you. Okay, Acer wants to purchase some stationery items from VA stores for let's say 40,000 INR. And next then we'll put vendor requested, let's say 30% advance payment to supply the items or to take the order. Okay, Acer wants to purchase some stationery items from VA stores for 40,000 rupees. And to get this order or to accept the order, vendor had requested, please process or please issue 30% advance payment. Only then I'll be able to supply the product or only then I'll be able to take the order. Now, when you know that this is the situation, first point, as a vendor, as a customer, we know that we want to purchase some stationery items from a supplier. Now the supplier is asking for us to issue or process the advance payment of 30%. Some vendors will say that pay 30% of the order value as an advance, or somebody will tell please process 10,000 advance payment, 5,000 advance payment, 20,000 advance payment. Somebody may tell the advance amount in words, somebody will tell advance amount in percentage. In this example, your vendor is telling please process 30% advance payment. We know that the invoice or the purchase that you are going to make is for 40,000. Now, according to this, if we need to process 40,000, sorry, if we need to process 30% advance on 40,000, let us calculate advance amount first. I'll put advance amount will be 30% of purchase value. According to this, our purchase value is 40,000, which means 40,000 multiplied by 30 divided by 100 will give you advance. Now, if you do it, is equal to 40,000 multiplied by 30%. If I take 40,000 multiplied by 30%, it is coming to 12,000. Then I'll put 12,000 here. Now we need to process advance payment for 12,000. And this advance payment, how we are trying to process? We are trying to process the advance payment, not manually, but through automatic payment program. I want system to process the advance payment automatically used based on APP or F110 scenario. First thing, the scenario, what we followed, what we executed in terms of manual procedure was, let's say, manual process of advance payment. If you write manual process of advance payment, we have two options. Option number one is what we've already done. Down payment request. Based on the down payment request, down payment. Based on the down payment, invoice. After invoice, adjust down payment with invoice, and last step, payment. This is what we executed previously. So what we did here, you were processing down payment request. Based on the down payment request, we created a down payment. After creating the down payment, we created an invoice. After creating the invoice, we created another entry wherein we applied invoice with the down payment. And then finally you made the balance payment or the settlement. This is one option, and you have another option. Option number two, this will be eliminated. These two will be there. And since down payment request is not there, you cannot do it, or you can straight away do this. Point number one, with down payment request. Point number two, without a down payment request. Slowly we need to understand how this is executed, how the other one is executed. So far what we did, the option number one is what we've executed. We created a down payment request, and then we processed based on the request down payment or advance payment. After that we created invoice document, then we adjusted invoice amount with the down payment amount, and finally you created or you processed final payment or balance amount to the vendor. This is what we executed. Option number two is without the down payment request. When I say option number two, without a down payment request, straight away you can create a down payment and then you can work on the other activities as usual of the option number one. Now, when you're talking about the automatic process will adopt the same option number one. Automatic process will also adopt the same option number one, not option number two. So what you are going to do, let's say automatic payment process for down payment. There's only one option here. There's nothing called option number one, option number two. This is the process which we need to follow for. When we're talking about this is what we need to follow for F110 automatic payment with respect to down payment or advance payment. First thing what we need to do, we need to create a down payment request. We have already seen how a down payment request is created. Let us do the down payment request creation. To create the down payment request, if you are able to remember the transaction code, it is fine. If not, you don't need to by heart anything. Straight away go to accounting. Financial accounting, down payment for vendor, anything related to vendor is from accounts payable. Expand accounts payable. From here, you're talking about data entry. Anything related to transaction is part of document entry. Open document entry. In this, we're talking about down payment or advance payment. Open down payment tab here. And here you can see, down payment. You can see the request here. Here you can see a transaction called request. Open the request F-47. What I'll do, I wanted to create with current date, and then I'll put DP request for APP. Same thing I'll put this here. Vendor account, our vendor is VA stores is what we're talking about. Let us take this VA store, continue. There is something called a target special. Here system is not asking for this special GL, it is asking for the target special GL, meaning the special GL indicator that you are going to provide here is the special GL indicator that you are going to trigger for the down payment. Others, please go on mute. We understood for different purposes you can use different special GL indicator. In our example, for any normal vendor related advance payment, we will be using A as the down payment request. Sorry, A as the special GL indicator. Let us put A here. A is nothing but special GL on current asset. Put A here. Let me reconnect. So always understand the difference or look at the field name properly. Sometimes it may be representing special GL. Sometimes that may not be a special GL. In this example, this is not special GL. This is your target special GL. Meaning, this is not the special GL that you are going to enter. This is the special GL that you are planning to create as a target special GL. When you put this, you have given A, but here it is giving you F. Sorry. Let me close the screen. Okay. If you see this here, you have given A as this target special GL indicator, but on this screen you are not able to see anywhere. Instead, you are able to see F here. Meaning F is the down payment request. A is the down payment request conversion of down payment. When you are converting request into payment, F becomes A. That's what you are giving target special GL indicator A there. Our plan or our target is to process down payment of 12,000 here. Let me put 12,000. Due on, I want this down payment to be processed today. Let us select due on current date, which means today's date. And then you'll have to give assignment. Assignment, I'll put DP for automatic payment program. Then I'll put DP for automatic payment program. If we are going to process the payment manually, this is enough. But what we're trying to do, we're trying to process the payment not manually but using automatic payment program. If you want to process the down payment or advance payment using automatic payment program, it is known to everybody now. Anything that you want to use in automatic payment program, it is possible only with payment method option. When you do not have any payment method, if you do not update payment method, automatic payment program will not work. So here you will find an option called payment method. Let us put payment method. Currently what we are using is C. Let me put C here. I'll put C, press enter. Click on more data. If you click on more data, you don't find any other option here. When I say you don't find any other option, I am talking about profit center option here. I'm talking about profit center option. I don't find profit center option. It is okay. Let me go back. And then let me click on post. When I click on post, the down payment request has been processed. Now let us go to vendor line item report. And if I try to check all items posted with current date, let's see if anything is coming up here. Nothing is coming because what we created was down payment request. Down payment request is part of a noted item. We created down payment request. Down payment request is nothing but noted item. If you scroll down on the vendor line item report, you can find the different options like special GL transaction, noted item. You need to make sure these are also enabled so that you can see special GL entries plus noted item. Our down payment request is a noted item. Down payment is a special GL transaction. Select these two. Click on execute this report. Now you can see there is a request for 12,000 which is updated with down payment request or special GL indicator F. You can see 12,000 as a credit. It is updated with special GL indicator F. And if you scroll right, we need to make sure if payment method is available or not. On the down payment request also, you are able to see there is a payment method C updated. And our automatic payment program will work based on the payment method C. Now I'm not going to do anything. Straight away, let us execute automatic payment program and then see what is going to happen. But before that, let me verify. Other than this, nothing else is open. Let us verify. Other than this entry, nothing is outstanding for this vendor to make sure our report or our automatic payment program will work fine. There is only one outstanding entry in this report. Nothing else is available. So that this line or this vendor is okay for our testing. Open one more window. In this window, let us open F110. In this window, open F110. First point you give today's date. I'll give 1907. Identification, I'll put AC01 as usual. Go to parameters. I don't want to enter all the parameters again. I'll simply go to copy parameters. On top, click on previous used date 16 AC01. Continue. Make sure if vendor number is correct. If not, you have to update it. Vendor number is 5811. Here it is not 5811. What I'll do, I'm going to update vendor number to 5811 here, so that system will run or execute automatic payment program only for this vendor, not for all the vendor. Put 5811. Log also I want only for 5811 vendor. Click on additional log tab. Change this also to 5811 and click on save. Go to parameter. Make sure everything is updated properly. It is fine. Go to status. Click on proposal. Let us schedule proposal. As usual, start immediately. Continue. Proposal has been created. Let us display if our proposal is okay or not okay. And when you see this, you are getting a message which talks about company code AC10, okay, /AC10, which means AC10 is your company code and another one is your paying company code, sending company code, plus proposal. This identification is not correct. It is telling these company details, nothing is available. Whenever you get this message, it is representing that none of the information is matching with your criteria. It is representing none of the information, meaning it is completely zero matching. Even if there is something matching, it would have shown something in proposal. If this message, whenever you get, it is not matching to any extent with your invoice, with your entry that is currently created in your company code. Now we need to understand why it is not matching. Point number one, there is no invoice. Point number two, you are trying to process down payment. Down payment means special GL indicator. Down payment means special GL indicator. We need to verify if special GLs are allowed or not in our automatic payment. Manually, it is ready to use the moment you have down payment request or the moment you have special GL indicator. We are good to process down payment manually. But when it comes to automatic payment program, we understood payment method is mandatory. We created a payment method. It was working fine. Now you put payment method in down payment request, and then when you're trying to process automatic payment in order to process vendor advance, it is giving this message, meaning something is missing. Let us go to configuration. Let me open one more window. I'll open FBZP. Okay, in this FBZP, click on all company codes. If you click on all company codes, you will get the list of company codes. From this, select your company code AC10. Select your company code. AC10 and then double click on it. When you double click on your company code AC10, there is a dedicated column called special GL transaction. There is a dedicated column called special GL transactions for vendor, for customer. Currently what we are talking about is only related to vendor. Look at vendor, it is talking about special GL transaction to be paid. Now when you're talking about special GL transaction to be paid, while processing the down payment request, we have noticed two down payment or two special GL indicator. Point number one, special GL indicator. Point number two, target special GL indicator. Meaning, in your down payment request, you have given special GL indicator target was A. That is, A is your one special GL indicator which you have given at the time of down payment request. After giving special GL indicator A, the target special GL indicator A, when you press enter, system was not giving you A, instead it was giving F. Now you'll have to put F also, meaning in order to process down payment from automatic payment program, you have to update A and F. Why you need to update A and F? If you look at your down payment, that is already processed. If you look at the down payment request which is already processed, let me go to document, display this. If I double click on this line item, it is giving you 39F arrow mark A. Why this is giving 39F arrow mark A? It is nothing but 39F is a down payment request. 39A will be down payment. In short, system is telling F is going to convert into A when you process the request. When you process this down payment request, F is going to become A. Now, since you see that for down payment request, there are two special GL indicator F and A. In order to process this down payment from your automatic payment program, you need to make sure in your configuration we'll have to update both A and F. In the configuration, we need to update both A and F in any sequence. Either you put AF or FA, it is fine. System is going to read possible or allowed down payment indicators or special GL indicator here. A is a separate special GL indicator. F is a separate special GL indicator. Likewise, if you have any additional indicators that are created, you need to update it here. Here I am put only these two. Click on save. This is the only config change that I am making. Let me proceed to save this setting. Continue. After making this configuration change, let us come back to proposal. Since this error was coming because of the missing configuration, which is now updated, come back one level. Let us click on cancel. Okay. We know that proposal was unsuccessful, proposal failed. What we need to do? Delete the proposal. To delete the proposal, go to edit, proposal, and from here select delete option. From the proposal drop down, choose delete option here. Let me click on delete here. When you click on delete, it is asking you to confirm whether to delete it. Say yes, we want to delete the proposal. Now it is telling proposal has been deleted. What we need to do, we just need to redo the proposal. To redo the proposal, click on proposal icon again. Schedule proposal. On the pop-up, as usual, select start immediately, press enter. Continue. Now it is telling again proposal has been created. Go to display proposal. When you go to display proposal, now it is coming, it's okay, but it is coming in red. Earlier nothing was coming. Earlier it was straight away giving nothing appears on the list. Now at least it is coming. Amount is matching, 12,000 amount is coming, it is okay, but no other details are appearing here. But other details are not appearing here. We need to see how we will process. It. Now, in order to see how we are going to process it, we need to see further. Any other places we need to maintain additional configuration or any information is missing here. First thing what I'll do, let me go back. Okay. Now what I'll do, let me try to go to edit proposal. If I try to go to edit proposal, on this pop-up, select all accounting clerk. This will be blank, press enter. Okay. Now you can see that there is one entry here which is on red, meaning exception. You can convert this exception into payment by editing the data manually. To do it, select this, click on change on the top, or you can even double click on it. If I do it, this is how it is opening. This is giving the breakup of the transaction. This is the transaction breakup. Double click on this entry. Now this information is appearing. Okay, this information is appearing. Error in creating the payment document. Read job log. What message it is giving? It is giving error in creating payment document. We need to understand why there is an error in creating payment document. Usually what will happen? This error might come because of different reasons. But in this situation, we are talking about a problem where your down payment is not being processed. I'm not editing anything. I've just come inside the change mode. Go back once again. I've not made any changes here. So far, we're not making any changes in any of the proposal, that we will see later on. Now let us try to understand the log, whether log is giving any information related to it. Now it is telling bank account, grace period, it is fine. Scroll down completely to see if any information we can see. This is even showing the accounting entry also. Bank account also it is displaying. Everything it is displaying. But the message, the problem that you are able to see here is profit center error. Problem what you are able to see here is profit center error. Why we are getting this profit center error? Because at the time of down payment request, there is no option to enter the profit center. At the time of down payment request, there is no option to enter the profit center. Point number one. Point number two, when you're creating the down payment manually. Point number two, when we were creating the down payment manually, if I go back to this down payment F-48, what we were doing while creating the down payment manually, we were giving profit center manually here. Whenever you are processing down payment manually, we are giving profit center manually here, so that system is able to take profit center to the bank account. From the bank account, profit center is transferred to vendor account. That is what was happening in your manual down payment processing. But this is not a manual down payment process. This is a down payment process from down payment request with the help of F110 or APP. We know that at down payment request level, there is no option to put profit center. At down payment request level, there is no option, because at the down payment request, you are entering a noted item at vendor account level. We are all aware vendor is a subledger. For subledger, profit center is not applicable. Straightforward, you cannot do it. Then in this situation, what you need to do is you have to use a default profit center logic. We'll have to use default profit center. This is very important in your project, especially for bank accounts. We will be updating it. You'll have to maintain default profit center mapping. Okay, this is used in FAGL 3KEH. This is the screen where you are going to maintain default profit center. Now while processing or while updating default profit center here, make sure this is a configuration. Remember, it is a configuration. For one GL account, only one profit center can be updated. It is a configuration for one GL account, only one profit center is updated. Now we need to know which GL account will be used for this bank. Now in your proposal, you are able to see the GL account here. If I go back to the proposal on this screen, it is giving us the accounting entry also in the proposal list. You can see debit is your vendor account 515811, credit is 13101012. This is the GL account which is being credited. Now for this GL account, you need to maintain default profit center. How do you maintain default profit center? Using FAGL 3KEH.
Ajay,
Open one more window.
what about the OKB9 you taught us last time? Can we use that one too?
OKB9 is used only for the cost element. This is a balance sheet account, a bank account, cannot be a cost element.
Okay.
Okay. So let me go to FAGL 3KEH. In this screen, you will be using any GL account other than cost element. If your GL account is a cost element, OKB9. If your GL account is a non-cost element or a balance sheet account, it is FAGL 3KEH. Okay, open this screen. Now this is asking for the company code. Give your company code, press enter. Now here it will ask you to input the GL account number range. Add a new entry. You're not going to maintain all the account numbers here, only the account number where profit center errors are supposed to come. Such accounts you will maintain. In short, we will be updating bank accounts here. 1310 1012 is the GL account. Axis Bank outgoing account. Single account, I'll put from account to account same number. Profit center, what I'll do, I am going to take AC10. I'm going to take this profit center here. Click on save. So what system will do? System will check if it can detect any profit center with the help of document splitting. If not, it will pick the profit center from default profit center mapping. This setting is done. Now once this config is also done, let us go back to our proposal. In the proposal, we understood it was not processed because of profit center error. Reason was down payment request. Down payment request will not have any option to input profit center. As a result, you maintained default profit center in FAGL 3KEH. Come back. As usual, since it was not as expected, delete the proposal. Go to edit. Proposal, delete it. Delete the proposal, yes. Continue. Proposal has been deleted. Let us redo the proposal. Click on proposal. Continue. Continue. Wait until the proposal is processed. Now you can see the proposal is created. Let us display the proposal. If you display the proposal, now you can see it has become green by default. It has become green by default, meaning two things that you'll have to remember in case of down payments, advance payment in F110. Point number one, maintain advance related special GL indicator in all company codes. Second point, you'll have to maintain a default profit center. If these two are missing, this is not possible. Tomorrow when somebody is asking how advances are handled in F110 or automatic payment program, tell that this is what the process or this is what you have done in your project. Come back, and then if you try to process the payment, it will create the down payment without any problem. What I'll do, let me click on payment run. Let us go back, click on payment run, continue this. Now you can see payment 1 is generated. If you go back to vendor line item report now, if you go back to vendor line item report, before we refresh the report, you can see 12,000 credit balance is here. 12,000 credit balance is here with special GL indicator F. Let me refresh it. If you refresh it, 12,000 credit balance has become 12,000 debit balance with special GL indicator A. F has become A, negative balance has become positive balance because before processing the down payment, it is a commitment to pay. Before processing the down payment, it is a commitment to pay. That is why it was giving a negative number as a noted item. Once you process the down payment, it is a current asset. This is something that you processed, but you have not received any benefit from vendor. So that it has become a positive value This positive value will have to be adjusted with the invoice. How you are going to adjust the positive value with the invoice? You need to process the invoice entry also. Now let us enter the invoice document. To enter the invoice document, as usual, it is your F-43. As usual, F-43 / n F-43. Let me enter invoice also with current date. Let's say APP DP invoice, down payment invoice, vendor account 5811, VA store, invoice amount what we thought was 40,000, payment terms 0001, immediate due for payment, payment method will be C, text DP invoice, posting key 40, will take expense account 412 all zeros, amount will be 40,000. This is an expense account, cost element, give profit center, cost center here, and then same text, go to document, click on simulate. Okay, on this entry, let us make sure simulate general ledger to ensure that there are no errors, mistakes related to document splitting. In case if somebody makes any changes to splitting, this might affect our company code posting. Now, if you look at it, profit center is there on both debit and credit. There is no problem with it. Go back one level. You can click on post. Go back one level. You can click on post. Now, there are two observations that we need to make. Now, when I say we need to make two observations here, observation number one, advance payment that is processed is 12,000, invoice value is 40,000. If I refresh the list, I can see invoice is showing for 40,000. I can also see down payment is showing for 12,000. Net outstanding or current liability, net liability is 28,000. Now, if I am processing the payment manually, I know that I need to process only 28,000 for this invoice. I know that I need to process only 28,000 for this invoice. What I'll do straight away, I'll try to run the APP now. I will execute automatic payment program once again. We are all aware, according to us, we need to process payment of 28,000 against this invoice. Let us see
Ajay,
whether APP is doing this or not. So what I'll do, I'll take AC02 here, click on parameters. Let me copy the parameter from today's parameter, which is 19. Everything is as usual. On the proposal screen or on the parameter screen, there is nothing called a special GL indicator here. You cannot say that include special GL, don't include special GL, because these are maintained at the configuration level. Click on save. Now parameters are updated. Let us go to proposal. Enter. Our target is to make sure system to process payment of 28,000 to the vendor. Let us look at the proposal here. If you look at the proposal, it is taking 40,000, it is taking 12,000, but 12,000 is going on exception. It is taking 40,000 into red. It is taking 40,000 is green as a payment. 12,000 is a red as an exception. You can see here, against 12,000, there is no payment document number here. Against 12,000, there is no payment document number here, meaning if I process the APP as it is now, it is going to become a problem for me because I am going to make excess payment to vendor. According to me, I have already processed 12,000 payment to vendor. Payment to vendor. But now when I try to process the final payment to vendor using F110, system is telling I am going to pay 40,000. If I do a total here of green is nothing but your payment is only 40,000. There is a single payment document number. If I do a total here, Total is 28,000. If I do a total at payment document number level, you can see here there is a single payment document number which is generated for 40,000. System is processing full payment. This is not correct. This is not the right behavior of the system, or this is not what you are supposed to show or explain to your client. Nobody will be okay with it if system is ignoring the down payment, processing the invoice final payment. Let us see one more thing. I'll go back. Now, as per our regular execution step, let's go to Excel sheet. As per our regular execution step, what we were talking about, down payment request is completed, down payment is completed, invoice is completed. If I skip this step, adjust down payment with invoice, if I straight away go to payment, system is ignoring my down payment also. It is processing invoice as a separate entry, which is not correct. Because why it is happening? Maybe let's assume that we have not done this. Anyway, we have not done this. We have not adjusted our down payment with invoice. We straight away tested final payment, which is it is not working as per our expectation. Let us perform this execution step now. Adjust down payment with invoice. To do it, what we need to do? Let us go back to SAP. Come back. Exit yes. We need to perform something called F-54 down payment clearing. We need to perform down payment clearing. Click on this down payment clearing entry, give current date. I'll put DP clearing. Account is 5811. Invoice number 19 all zeros 23. Just make sure if it is the right invoice number. 19 all zeros 23 is the correct invoice number. Let me come back here. Okay, and then you can put something in the assignment. If you want to write anything in the assignment text, you can put it. I'll say DP for APP. Same thing I am going to copy paste in text also. Enter. Now here you can see available or open down payments here. There is one available open down payment here. Let me select this. Let me select this down payment. Go to document, click on simulate. When you do it, what system is going to do? It is going to debit and credit same vendor account, but the down payment is going to be a normal item now. If you can see 12,000 it is crediting for special GL and 12,000 it is debiting without special GL. Meaning the same amount will become debit without any special GL indicator. Click on post now. Now I did this. Let me go to vendor line item report first. Let me go to vendor line item report. Go to list, click on refresh. Go to list, click on refresh. Now you can see this amount here, these things here. And one more thing that you need to notice here is invoice reference here. Another thing, when you look at invoice reference, down payment and invoice document are having same invoice number in the invoice reference column. Now this is fine. Let us try to redo the automatic payment program now. Let's go here. F110 screen. As usual, delete the proposal which is executed incorrectly. Go to edit, proposal, delete it. On the confirmation, say yes. Let us redo the proposal once again. Click on proposal, continue. Continue this proposal. Let us display this proposal now. If I display this proposal, it is now giving you same amount that you are supposed to process. You are supposed to process 28,000. It is giving 28,000 here. If you see the difference, if you don't process the down payment clearing, this is what happens. Meaning you have seen the previous proposal wherein system is ignoring the down payment. It is processing invoice full payment again. This is not accepted by any client. You can talk these points as your configurations. As your support tickets. Say that vendor is trying to process the down payment. But after processing the payment, vendor realized, or during the proposal, your client or user realized that invoice is not adjusted with the down payment, system is again proposing the full payment. Then you saw that they have not executed or they have not performed down payment clearing activity, or down payment is not adjusted against invoice. As a result, it is happening. This is standard system behavior. Okay, now come back. Now if you run the payment, it will process the payment for 28,000 as a single entry. Go back and then press enter. You can see that the payment is processed for single entry. Let us go to vendor line item report now. If you go to vendor line item report, go to list on the top, click on refresh. Now you can see nothing is outstanding. Okay, what I'll do, let me select all items now. If I select all items, let's see what it is going to bring. This is bringing this many entries. From here, you need to look at the accounting entry related to payment. Payment of which payment? You have processed two payment here. One is down payment, another one is final payment. You'll have to look at final payment, which is processed for 28,000. Open this 28,000 document. Select the checkbox for this document. On the top, you will find a display document icon. If you go top, you will find a display document. Click on display document. If you click on display document, this is how accounting entry can be seen. On the top, go to environment. Top menu, click on environment. If you click on payment usage, it will give the breakup of the entries that are adjusted here. This is going to give you the breakup of entries that are adjusted. Here you can see system had processed this payment of 28,000 considering whatever the entries that are taken are here on your screen. You can see this 12,000 is related to down payment. This 12,000 is a down payment and this 40,000 is the invoice value. Sum of these two plus 12,000 minus 40,000 is resulting balance of 28,000. For the 28,000, down payment is processed. This is the process that you need to follow to execute down payments from automatic payment program. Now the same logic is applicable for your credit memo. When we say same logic is applicable for credit memo, you may be questioned on the credit memo also by your interviewer. When I say you may be questioned by your interviewer on the credit memo also, when I say that, you need to make sure. Let me write one assignment here for the credit memo. Okay, this anyways you'll have to practice down payment. Let me write assignment here. There's something that you'll have to do it. What you do is you take 3 days, okay, or you take 10th, create one invoice on 10th, another invoice is also on 10th, and credit memo you create on today or on the date that you are creating. Let's put invoice number 1, invoice number 2. This is, let's say, credit memo number 1. This you create for 1,000. This you create for 2,000. This you create for 100. Okay, invoice is negative. This invoice is also negative. Put negative numbers here. Overall, your vendor liability should be 2,900. But let's assume that this credit memo is related to this invoice. Let's assume that this credit memo is related to this invoice, and you're talking about this invoice is due on 25 July, and this is due on today's date you take. Okay, this is due on, let's say, 10 July itself. And credit memo, as usual, I'm not writing anything here. This is something that you need to figure out when you're executing. Now, according to this, when you process APP on today, when you execute automatic payment program on today, According to this, proposal invoice should be number 1 or number 2. According to APP on today's date, as per these two invoices, whether system to bring invoice number 1 for 1000 or invoice number 2 for 2000 or both for 3000. What is the proposed amount?
Number 1, because you have inserted your invoice reference into it, so they will be linked together.
No, proposal should bring which invoice if I do it today?
Yeah,
Number
invoice
1.
two.
Invoice number two.
It has to bring invoice number 2
Because
because
that is due on 10th July.
this is due, only this is due. As on today, only this is due. This is not due. This is due on 25th. And when you're executing, you are definitely going to put next day payment date as 20th June or 20th July. So this will be skipped. Now, according to this, this is the invoice. What is the proposed payment? Should system propose payment for 2000 or 1900? What is the proposed payment?
1900.
1900.
2000, sir.
2000.
1900.
Both are possible. You can make both possible, but what is the right approach? Which one is correct? Is proposed amount to 2000 correct, or is proposed amount to 1900 correct? Which is correct?
2000. 2000 is
2000 is correct.
2000 is correct. 1900 is
2000 is
wrong.
correct.
1900 is wrong because this 1900 is adjusting this credit memo. We know that this credit memo, number 1, invoice number 1, these two you connected. Because one you connected, according to you wanted to ensure system is going to adjust credit memo of 100 only with this invoice number, not with any other. Otherwise, what will happen? Your payment is okay, but the vendor will get confused or not. Why you paid short payment for it? Yes or no?
Yes,
Tomorrow
correct.
the person who raised this invoice will also get confused. No, the payment is supposed to be 2000. Why you processed only 1900? No, there is an open credit of 100. We adjusted here. They say that no, that open credit is not related to this invoice. Please process 100 also. Otherwise, vendor will not accept it. Then again, you may have to process another payment, which will mess up all the reporting if things are not properly maintained, updated at the time of data entry. Now, as a consultant, you need to make sure the way system is supposed to work, the way user is supposed to work, you have to clearly instruct. System will behave in this way, provided these conditions are met. And as a user, as a client, or as a business, you need to follow the execution steps in a sequential order according to what we have set up. Because based on your setup only, user will have to work. If user is working in a different way, which is not in line with what you configured, system is going to do things or system is going to work in a different way that will never meet the expectation. Your requirement may be different, the expectation may be different, output may be different. This will come majoritarily without having proper business process understanding or client requirement. If you are not sure what is the client requirement, you may end up configuring the system in a generic way, because we may be thinking, okay, APP means this config will have to do, credit memo you can adjust it. System will work in two ways. Like you have seen the down payment, it was giving you 40,000 as outstanding. The same system, just with one configuration, straight away it is giving 28,000. Meaning small changes will make huge difference.
Ajay, I have
These
a
minor
question.
points is what people will try to check from you when you talk to somebody, especially in your interviews and all. They are more focused on what scenarios you are explaining, how you are explaining, whether you are able to take an example and then convince them, or just like that in the air you are telling this config you need to do that T code, this T code, nobody will be okay with it. Even if you take a simple transaction, small scenario, please make sure you are able to explain it. Meaning say
Ajay,
that
I
this
have
was
a
the
question.
requirement. One second, let me complete. Once you are able to explain the process properly along with an example, if possible, you try to include configuration there. For this to happen, these are the configuration we need to maintain. Talk only those steps which are required for that, not the total APP config. Nobody wants it. You're talking about a specific scenario, talk about the setting that is required to enable that scenario. That's it, not the total config. And here, what is expected result? You are expecting, if you are processing invoice number 1, if you are processing invoice number 1, only then you need to take credit of 100. If invoice number 1 is not processed, credit is not supposed to be processed. Now this again will work in dual ways. What we need to do while creating the credit memo, inside the credit memo, you need to make sure invoice number is updated. Inside the credit memo, you need to make sure invoice number is updated. If that is done, system will take this credit memo always along with 1000. While processing the credit memo, if you update invoice number inside the credit memo, it will adjust credit memo only with this. Why? Because at that moment there is something called invoice reference in vendor line item report. If I go to vendor line item report, scroll right a little, you will find something called invoice reference number here. This will be updated with invoice number only if you maintain invoice number while recording a credit memo. If that is done, whenever that invoice is coming, that will go along with credit memo, because payments are made based on the invoice reference number. If this is missing, system does not know that this credit memo is related to this particular invoice. What system will do as a standard practice or as a general business practice, whenever you're processing the next payment, open credits to be adjusted. I know that this credit is not with respect to any invoice, I can adjust with any invoice. System also will do the same thing, but the moment you know that this credit memo is created against a particular invoice, you'll have to instruct the system in such a way that please adjust this credit amount only with this invoice. For that, what you need to do, while doing the credit memo recording, you need to update invoice number and verify the invoice reference is properly updated. Only then it will work as expected, otherwise it will not. Don't look at the number, okay, overall this much amount to be processed, whether the same amount is processed or not. That is not what you are going to look at it. Anyways, you are going to look at the accounting impact. That is point number 1. Point number 2, if you split your accounting impact, whether the accounting entry is correct or not, which invoice to be picked up, whether that is picked up or not, what is to be excluded, whether that is excluded or not. Because when you're working in a project, you will definitely have hundreds of vendors, thousands of invoices. System will work in the same logic. Whatever the way it is working here, for all the entries, for all the invoices, credit memo, same logic is applied. If this is not working properly, or if this is not as expected, every vendor, every case is not as expected. Your errors will be more. This is something that you need to keep in your mind, especially when you're working on UT or unit testing scenarios. Not that you posted the entry, system is not giving any error, document is posted, I displayed the document, that anybody can do it. Even a fresher also will do the testing. But as an experienced consultant who knows the business process, what you're supposed to do is you need to execute business cases, you need to execute business scenarios. That is where you talk about test cases, test script. According to test case, according to test scenario, test script, you know the expected result. Expected result is not a document posted, a document displayed, report displayed, output is coming. That is not the testing. That is your technical testing. But here you are doing the functional testing, meaning business functions are tested, business functionality is working as expected. If this is working as expected, everything will be fine. If not, things will not be okay. When you are working on UAT, client will put all these kind of questions. They may say that if there are 3 invoices, I have 2 credit memos, how system will adjust, how my down payments are processed. You need to show the full cycle to them. When I say you need to show full cycle to them, like this you need to process. When you're talking about down payment scenario as part of your UAT or user acceptance testing, or you're giving a business process demo, or you're giving user training session, you'll have to do like this only. Meaning you'll have to take some examples, small examples you take, okay, and then execute them in a sequential order, show them the report. Every user will tell, okay, we are clear with the process. It's not that I will show only this entry, report you can see later on. No user will understand. They will simply give a feedback. No, they did not show the everything. They only showed partial screen, meaning they only showed that particular entry. Impact we have not seen. When they say impact we have not seen, it is always a negative from your side. Tomorrow when things are not working fine, they may simply blame you, stating that No, this was not shown in the UAT. Yes, you have to agree it. Yes, I did not show it. I only posted the entry. I only showed the document. These things are not supposed to happen, especially if you are representing yourself as an experienced candidate who says, I know business process, I can handle or I can interact with the user. Because you need to understand what is the business expectation, user expectation. According to that, you need to do the testing or you need to talk to the user. Okay, in short, this is about your down payment. And here you need to remember this one. In the previous session, we already maintained OKB9, default profit center mapping. Let me put default cost center mapping. This is your OKB9. This is basically for cost element. This is basically for non-cost element and balance sheet. This is for BS and non cost elements. This is only for cost elements. Cost element by default a P&L account. Okay, cost element is a by default P&L account only for P&L OKB9 if your P&L account is a cost element. And if you look at this screen once again, let me go to SAP. Let's open OKB9 here. OKB9 is not talking about GL account. OKB9 is clearly talking about cost element here. When this is talking about cost element, we are all aware cost element is possible only for P&L account. Cost element is possible only for P&L account, expense and income. And cost center is applicable only for expenses. Profit center is applicable for income. If your GL account is a cost element, you have to maintain either default profit center or default cost center using OKB9. If your GL account is a non-cost element, either it is a balance sheet account or it is a P&L non-cost element, maintain only profit center in FAGL 3KEH. Meaning tomorrow somebody might ask what is the difference between default profit center, default cost center screens. Why when you maintain OKB9, when you need to maintain FHL 3KEH, make sure you differentiate with account type only, nothing else. Cost element, non-cost element. If these points are not maintaining, whatever the T code and all you talk will not hold any weightage. Okay, let me
no operating expensive. What should we use?
Which one?
No operating expensive. No operating expensive. Which default should we use? Is it the FAGL or the OKB3?
No, that is coming from here.
I'm saying the when you go to account, when you go to the GL type, no expensive. No operating expensive.
Non-operating means this is a non-cost element. This will use FHL 3KEH. Only the primary cost, secondary cost will be used with OKB9. Apart from primary, secondary, it will go to FHL 3KEH.
Okay. Ajay, sorry for disturbing you. When you did your down payment, when you paid from the request to the special GL, it was unnoted. On note, did it move to the special GL when you pay through automatic payments?
Yes.
Because you didn't change it.
It was changed.
Automatically, because you didn't change it. You didn't go out and change it to special GL. It was in noted when it was in request. Then you paid to APP. You paid through APP, and it converted from F to A without telling
here
if it is noted or it's a special GL. That's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah. Here you can see the payment that is processed with APP. That is A here.
Yeah. So was it a special GL when you did the request? When you post from the request to, or when you pay from the request using APP, did it move to special GL?
it will move to special GL. Here what you do, here you are going to maintain A here on this screen.
Yeah.
When you put A, the request will take A here, F here. Let me put this here. If you put this,
But when you create it, it's going to go to noted, notes, not special GL.
noted is also a special GL with F. Here if you see, when you scroll down on this report, you will find three options here: normal, special GL, noted.
I now understand. You tick special GL transaction. That was why it was showing you. I didn't know you ticked it. That was why.
No, I ticked these three.
Okay, that's why. I understand now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ajay, I have a question like if invoice date is being changed, so how will it going to process the credit note? Like you in Excel sheet, you have shown the 10th, two invoices. Suppose another invoice has been picked 12th, then which one will be against that credit note?
Here, whenever you process the credit memo, usually what will happen? Let me go to report. You will find a field called invoice reference.
Yes.
So here you need to put invoice number in the credit memo. Then it will be adjusted only with that invoice number. If that
No,
is
no,
not maintained, it will be adjusted with the next immediate payment.
no. My question is that if first invoice is at 10th, second invoice will date will be changed. Then which against which invoice we have to put that reference credit note? You have put same date like 10th both invoices. Suppose if we have
Yes,
changed the date,
this one,
date
this
is
one,
being
this one.
yeah, yes. Okay. So
You
first
connect number here. Invoice one, credit memo one. These two you connect.
okay,
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 the amount also I've put in the color.
okay,
This is to be
okay,
adjusted with this.
okay. I got little bit confused with credit memo and
Okay,
I
yeah.
thought we can adjust it. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
Sir,
Yeah, Mr. Ajay, sorry to disturb. Can we connect after this meeting?
yeah, okay,
Okay, I'll be waiting. Yeah, thank you.
yeah.
uh, sir, actually, I have a real scenario request. For a customer, it is asking for the secure deposit. So how you will get clear and uh, make it payment through automatic?
Sorry.
My one customer is giving secure deposit.
Okay,
Security deposit. Okay.
okay.
So now I want to post the entry of security deposit, and also I have to do the payment after it's got clear confirmed. Then I will make the payment refund amount. Also.
From the invoice, you are taking some portion into security deposit.
No, they are giving some payment. Suppose to 1 lakh amount they have given my security deposit.
Okay,
Okay. So after 1 month, 2 months, I will refund that amount.
okay. So after 1 month, 2 month, you want to adjust that deposit
Yes.
amount and then
Yes, correct. I will. I want to adjust that. I want to refund that amount to a customer.
okay. Then it's a normal process only. You need to either adjust that. Is it the full amount you wanted to adjust or the partially from the
No,
deposit
full amount I will adjust.
against one or multiple invoices?
There is no invoice. Only he'll give me the secure deposit. There is no invoice for him. Actually, that is school. We are project is institute. I mean school. The school student that they are giving a secure deposit. Once they complete us their process, then we will fund that amount to them.
And then you'll have to process manual payment only. This is not to a vendor. This is to a customer.
Customer, correct? Yeah, customer.
Yeah. So you'll
So
have to process that the customer account when you process the down payment will show negative amount. It will be a credit balance in the customer account.
which key code I will use for passing the secure deposit with?
You can use the same thing, F-53, F-58, you can use it. Once we come to customer posting, I'll show that. Just remind me, I'll create that and then show you how to process the payment for customer.
Okay.
Customer refunds basically.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let me take the questions in the tomorrow's sessions. Tomorrow and day after tomorrow, we'll spend only on the questions. I know we missed last 2 sessions for the questions, but tomorrow day after, we'll focus only on the questions. Doubts, whatever you have, we'll focus. And then from Monday, we will resume the continuation from here.
Excuse
Okay.
me, sir.
Ajay, I have a question on
Yes, sir.
today's topic.
Hello.
Now one second.